time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey, guys. Welcome back and happy Friday. Guys, I cannot believe it's Friday already. I feel like this week just flew by, but maybe it's because it's just one thing after another. But we did get our Real Housewives of Miami on Peacock yesterday, which I'm so excited about because if you watch the Salt Lake City finale, it was a flop. We're hearing that the reunion is also a flop. I'm also hearing that it might only be one part, maybe two at best. It doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot to look forward to. And then I even saw something on Instagram this morning where they said they have 3 new housewives coming for Salt Lake City that they're testing out. One of them oddly looks like Heather Gay with dark black hair. Very interesting. But before we jump into Miami, you guys know how this works. If you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. And also, I pinned the link in the live chat, just like it says at the banner below. Jason did a Hot Messy Minute. It's a video that we are premiering exclusively on Hot Messy Podcast YouTube channel. We are growing the hell out of it. So make sure you go over there, get subscribed, and do all of the stuff so you can catch us for the 2 p.m. premiere. Let's welcome Jason. Hello.
Hi, happy Friday, everyone.
Oh, happy Friday. Guys, 100 in the room. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I mean, Miami is killing it, right? So why wouldn't you want to talk about Miami?
I mean, there's so much to talk about. And I feel like these ladies, out of all of the different housewives that we have, let me just bring this up really quick. Like, the ladies are killing it. Larsa is, well, definitely solidifying her spot. Alexia is kind of like the Teresa Giudice of Miami. We have a lot of shit going on with Lisa. Julia Lemagova, of course, we got the really terrible news about Martina with throat and breast cancer. Dr. Nicole Martin is about to rip Larsa a new one with the latest allegations. And it seems like because of Lisa Hochstein's situation, all of the women are wondering, could we be next?
They're feeling a little insecure. I do have to say, on top of the ladies that you just have shown, the support team in this cast is amazing. Marisol, Adriana, Kiki. I mean, these are great friends to have. Like, it's on a show, because I feel like you don't need to make any changes. It's not like there's one weak housewife. There's just really good friends added onto the show, if that makes sense.
I mean, it's the show this season. It really is like it's killing it. And I hate, a lot of people are like, well, it's only killing it right now based off of the whole situation that's going on with Lisa Hochstein. But I don't believe that's the only reason it's killing it. I think everyone is bringing their own to the show. And then I saw another person, and we've talked about this a couple times. I saw where another person said something to the effect of, hey, listen, I think that for Real Housewives of Miami, Bravo made a huge mistake by putting it on Peacock. I don't agree with that because I feel like everything is going to slowly move to streaming. So why not put one of the highest rated franchises on the streaming service?
100%. We've talked about this many times. Everything is moving to streaming. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because the only reason I think we have cable right now is because of watching Bravo, which you can get on Peacock the next day if it's a Bravo show, you know what I mean? But I just feel like it is good that everything is moving towards streaming. Then you can pick and choose what you want.
Exactly. 100%. Well, this week's episode I thought was pretty good. Jason, I wanted to start with you and anyone else who wanted to chime into this conversation. If you could rate this week's episode 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, where are you going?
Well, it definitely wasn't a 10. It wasn't as spicy as, let's say, like last episode, but it's the way they keep the momentum going with this show. You're just always interested, whether it's a drama-filled episode or not. At the very end, we did kind of get a mid-season trailer for The Real Housewives of Miami that looks incredible. And it even looked like there was some physicality or physical fights coming, which is crazy. But for this episode specifically, I'm going to have to give it probably like a 7. Solid 7, 6.5, 7.
I would have given it like a 6. I hate the fact that all of the women are kind of, I guess it really, let's break into the Lisa and Lenny of it all, because their situation has most of the women sort of trembling in their own marriages. Like, well, if this can happen to you, everyone thought that Lisa and Lenny were so secure in their marriage. However, if you go back to last season, season 4 of The Real Housewives of Miami, you would see where she would say certain things to Lenny and he looked completely checked out of the relationship. He looked like he was no longer there. And now some of her cast, they're wondering, well, was she just in denial? Because in this episode, we get the Page 6 article coming out And when it came out, it was Lenny pretty much just admitting he went from one extreme to the other. Like, no, nothing's happening. We're not getting a divorce. Nice try, though, page 6. And then the next article came out that said, oh, okay, yes, we're getting a divorce and I am moving on with my girlfriend. And then he had no problem publicly coming out with Katharina Mazeppa.
I think there's two situations going on here, because remember when he had the hot mic moment, he didn't like admit like they had been separated, whatever, but he did admit that he had been trying to tell her things. And I do think there was a little bit of, let me try to make this work coming from Lisa. She knows it's not working. She knows something is up, so she's trying to make it work. I thought it was interesting how he did leak that to page 6 and say that, you know, they are getting divorced and they've been living separate lives for a long time, because I don't think she actually felt that way. But even Marisol believes that Lisa knew it was coming and she was just trying to make it work. And I love how Marisol put it, though. There is a better life. There is still a great life to be had at the other end of this, you know?
Right. Right. She's stunning. She has 2 beautiful kids. She's in the social circle. She knows a lot of people. I think her biggest fear right now, aside from having her family ripped apart and everything that she knows, there would be 2 main fears here. I feel like one is going into the unknown, and then the second one is being able to maintain her lifestyle. Now, Lenny right now is trying to fight her tooth and nail over this prenup. And in the prenup, it said by the time that they file for divorce, that she would have to exit the marital home within 30 days. She has not exited the marital home. She does not plan on going anywhere from what we can see on the show. Even still to this day, I believe she's still living in the marital home. And he has moved on and moved in, I think, maybe with Katharina Mazeppa. That still has yet to be confirmed. However, in the prenup, it also said, you know, it was pretty ironclad in the sense that he gets to keep the majority of everything. He gets to keep this $80 million plus home. Obviously, all of the money that he makes, he's known as this celebrity plastic surgeon. And I think she would walk away with about $3 million. For her, that's like nothing, though. He just came out. There were new court documents that came out, and she's accusing him of cutting her off of funds in order to take care of the kids. He said, well, there's an Instacart account that if you need diapers, if you need something for the kids, you can use that. However, you started to abuse it. And in 1 week, you ended up spending $9,000 on luxurious goods for yourself. I'm not funding that for you. And his argument is also that she makes $30,000 per episode for the Real Housewives of Miami. So if she wants to fund her own lifestyle and buy these bags or do whatever, she needs to do that on her own accord and not on his dime. What are your thoughts about this?
I mean, listen, she's definitely accustomed to a certain lifestyle, right? And who's to blame here? Did Lenny create this lifestyle, this whole thing? I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of an ass in the way he's moving forward with dealing with the prenup with Lisa, with making her, you know, hey, I found this place for you, and kind of deciding, like she said, like deciding where I'm going to live and what I'm going to do. That's not up to him, you know? But I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't, if you and I got a divorce and you said, here, I found this house for you, I would be like, great, piss off.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm trying to look at it too from what Marisol was saying too. It's like, you know, they live this lifestyle, not only being very wealthy, but also having these parties, you know, where girls are walking around in their lingerie and their thongs and their pasties and their, you know, half nakedness. Like, they really did this to themselves. It's really how you treat the relationship is how the relationship will end or flourish.
Right. And what's interesting, though, is in the mid-season trailer, we see where his mother, originally, it seemed like she was very much so on Lisa's side, saying, how could this girl come in and destroy a family? What is my son thinking? He told me to get off of the property, never come back. And he obviously pushed his mom away. That's why she went out and had lunch with Lisa, because in previous seasons, we never thought that they would get along. I think that grandbabies changed that dynamic. But now we see in the mid-season trailer where she's looking at Lisa, kind of passing some of the blame, saying, hold on, girl. You had these parties with half-naked women walking around. What do you say about
doesn't
that?
marriage change that, though? Doesn't marriage, it's like, okay, we're married. I understand his business is boobs and shit, you know? So like, I get that.
No,
I get
not
that
in shit, just boobs.
just boobs. Boobs and stuff. Boobs. Lots of boobs. Lots and lots of boobs. But I understand that's his business, but I don't think you need all of those boobs to be running around your house, you know, with nothing. You know, that the line probably needed to be drawn at some point, you know. I don't necessarily disagree with Lenny's mom. I think that has a lot to do with it. Like I just said, how you treat the relationship is how it's either going to flourish or how it's going to end.
What were your thoughts about Katharina Mazeppa talking to Page Six? Because she did give a statement to Page Six, and all of the women were furious about this. They were wondering, like, who do you think you are? You shouldn't be giving statements. But this is Lenny's girlfriend, and right now, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. This is Lenny's girlfriend who is now, no matter what, getting raked through the mud because everyone in Miami knows Lisa and Lenny together. We saw that when Marisol and Alexia went to go sit down for dinner, and all of a sudden these two guys came up and were asking about it. But then you have this girl who now people are able to identify her. They know her name, and they're dragging her as the other woman. So the girl took to Page Six in order to give her own statement saying, before Lenny and I got together, we were both not in the relationship anymore with our partners. We both decided that that was over, and we didn't enter a relationship until we made that decision. Now, the women think, who the hell are you? You're not on the Real Housewives. No one knows who you are. Why are you giving a statement? This is disgusting, and you're looking for attention. But then I can see on her side too, where she's like, hold on, if you guys are going to drag me, I deserve to say something as well. Where do you stand on this?
I mean, I agree with that as much as I don't know who she is. She is, I guess, like a big model, and she is kind of known in some social circles in Miami, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how this is really, I don't know if she should be the one making statements. You know, I don't think she should get involved in that. I mean, it's hard. I don't know what Lenny was telling her though. You know, that's the thing. So what is Lenny telling her that she is choosing to believe or believing, or maybe Lisa is choosing to not believe?
Right. And then also for her too, I kind of think that the Kathy Hilton route in all of this is probably key of the silence is golden. I think for her not feeding into any of this would go a lot further. But I also don't feel like this woman is trying to, I think that she's very comfortable. If you look at her and you look at her past, you look at interviews that she's done, she's an Austrian model. She's very successful. She has 2 multi-million-dollar homes. She has her own paychecks that come in. She's constantly working. Like you said, she's in the social circles. So I don't know if she's necessarily looking for the fame of it all. I think it's, oh, okay, well, everyone in Miami knows me as well. I'm working here. So instead of everyone looking at me like I'm some homewrecker or ruining a family, I want people to hear my side of this story. I see both sides. It's weird. I'm a devil's advocate playing mother.
I mean, listen, I think she should have waited a little longer. They both should have waited. If they wanted to get involved in a relationship together, I think they should have waited until they can actually have a concrete plan of, okay, here's Lenny saying, this is where Lisa and I are. Lisa knows this. We've had a conversation. We're separated. We're living different lives at this moment. Now I can start doing this with you. Then you're not a homewrecker. But we're not getting any like clear, concise answers. Now that Marisol is over at Lisa's saying, and Marisol sharing with Alexia too, like, I wish we could share with her some of the things we know. Alexia shared, you know, I saw the signs of Herman. We were living separately, but we were keeping up the face for, you know, Miami, for society, for just kind of, you know, keeping a front up. And she said she was sleeping in Frankie's rooms half the time, but she knew what was going on with Herman already. And women know. So now are they alluding to the fact that Lisa knew a lot of what was going on? They've had conversations before, but she was just trying to hold on to this relationship.
I think that they're saying that she was pretty much living in a state of denial. Like, this would never happen to me. I would be able to save my family.
And maybe on her end, she was trying to do that.
Right. And I agree with that. And also there are some sides where people are not, I know Lenny keeps coming out and he's saying that, you know, Bravo, Peacock, they're painting Lisa out to be the person who is the victim in this story. She's not a victim. And he's going to say whatever he has to say to save face. Just like, I mean, most people, when they get into a nasty divorce, it's like, whose side are you on? And they start going to all of their friends. Are you on my side, their side? This is what they did. You start tainting the friend group. You start, you know, expressing certain things that people shouldn't have been privy to. However, on the show, some things that you can't really get away from is, if Lisa still lives in the house, unless you guys had some sort of open relationship that we didn't know about, which is fine. But if Lisa still lives in the house and she goes to the Keys, I would be pissed. I would be pissed if I found out that, okay, well, you know, I'm in the Keys, so you have some girl in my house that I don't know of, but yet now I know she was under my nose. She was at my parties. She was, liking my Instagram stuff. I can see why Lisa would be frustrated. I see frustration all over the board.
Even if
Divorce
she knew
sucks.
about it and this was kind of the way they were going, but Lisa was really trying to make things work, right? Like, say she was just trying to make things work. I'm trying to make it work with my husband. I know he's kind of like off. I know we're about to separate or whatever. You're right. She shouldn't be over at the house. She what's her name again? Catherine something.
Katharina Mazeppa.
Katharina Mazeppa.
Mhm.
Yeah, so she should have a little more respect, especially if Lisa's still living in the house, especially if the kids are over. You know what I mean? I do agree with that. I think that's, and I also think it's kind of shady and makes me think Lenny is trying to hide something when he shuns out his own mother.
And that's a big question mark as well. Norma Maldonado, thank you for the super chat. If my husband was the boob man, I would not be threatened by other women. I mean, he sees breasts for a living. It is something more than the parties. And right, people do this all the time. They leave their significant others for other people that they might have met. Sometimes you think the grass is greener. Sometimes it's younger, hotter, more beautiful. There are totally different dynamics across the board and reasons why people would end up taking this route. I get that. And you can't just blame it on the parties. It's more than the parties. I agree with Norma. But let's keep it moving because I want to hear.
But also at the same time, the parties don't really help. Because it's not just he sees boobs like in an office setting, in a medical, professional setting. Now it's like boobs at a party. Now it's not just boobs, it's like asses because you have their asses out and their lingerie wear and stuff like that. But Lisa has to take accountability that she's part of creating that too. This is their big Halloween party and all their other parties that they do where people are half dressed and Lisa also dressing like that. This is something they created. So I don't know. It makes me think just a little bit.
I mean, it makes me think just a little bit too. I wanted to ask you really quick, what were your thoughts about this whole following through with the Brazilian butt lift?
I just don't care.
I mean, I think where Larsa would be like, what the fuck?
No, totally. If I was Larsa, I'd be like, listen, last season you were trashing my big ass and now you're trying to get a big ass. Like, I don't understand it. Now, I think that Adriana, this is a non-surgical, and she kept saying that. It's a oh my gosh, come on, non-invasive surgery. So it's not like they're cutting her open. They're just like injecting her and it's different. Adriana is, I don't know. There's lots of excuses, right? Like age and the sagginess. I just need a little perk up. Definitely, though, Larsa has had something different than what Adriana has had, for sure.
I mean, Larsa sitting there denying that she had anything done to her butt is comical, but no pun intended, but to each their own. I mean, sometimes people want to be very open. Listen, we have a friend whose mother got a boob job, right? Very noticeably different. She wore very different stuff to accentuate the boob job. And when we saw her daughter brought up this boob job. Like, look, my mom looks great. The mom got so mad that this was even talked about. She's like, excuse, you do not talk about that. And she was livid. And we're like sitting here thinking like, is it just an elephant in the room? Because there's obviously two really big differences sitting right on your chest. Do we not talk about how do you navigate that? And then I also had cousins. We went to Thanksgiving and I got in a lot of crap because my two cousins, they're sisters, and they were heavier, and they ended up getting that surgery where they put the lap band on your stomach, and they lost over 100 and something pounds apiece. So I was like, wow.
Quite noticeable.
Yeah, very noticeable. I was like, wow, you two look, great. Good for you. And I mentioned that and how good they looked. It was the end of Thanksgiving. I literally threw a wrench into
legit. They were like, you don't talk about this. I'm sorry. Last time you were like double the person. So I'm just saying you look great. And when you get these surgeries, what do you want? You want people to notice. If your boobs are bigger and you're getting them bigger and all of the sudden some people see you like friends and family and your boobs are bigger, someone might say something. If you've lost drastically hundreds of pounds and you look great, saying you look great is probably what you want to hear. Why did you get the surgery?
Right.
And,
I guess to each their own. One last example is we have another friend who got completely new veneers. And I said, your teeth look beautiful. That was another problem. I guess you just are not supposed to point out these things. So my point was for Larsa, maybe she just doesn't want, she admitted, I have a nose job. I've got my lips done. I never did anything to my butt. But that also gave me reminiscent sort of, I guess, of Kim Kardashian, who always swore she never did anything to her butt. All of the Kardashians swore they never did anything. And I feel like Larsa follows a lot in that path of
course.
what? She
We're
talks like
never
this. No
going to admit it.
time, social media, never did anything to my butt. I feel like that's where she goes. But Karen R., Jason and Adam, have y'all done any cosmetic work?
Let me answer that, because yes, I have veneers in my front 6 teeth, because when I used to perform with Cirque du Soleil, and I used to be an acrobat, and I heavily kneed myself in my mouth, and I already had a gap, but this just expanded this, so I got veneers, and I didn't get veneers because I necessarily needed them. I was just tired of that. And yes, when people compliment my teeth, I appreciate the compliment. So it's
you like
okay.
Smile from ear to ear. Yeah.
Yeah. You feel more comfortable. You feel more confident. I think that's different, but you usually get something done to have a noticeable change,
Right. And for me, no, I haven't had anything done. I always get that. Have you had Botox? Have you had your lips
I always get, everyone asks me, oh, you have to have gotten Botox. No, girl, I have wrinkles right here. And no, not yet. I'm still not 40. I'm almost 40. Maybe after that.
Okay. I do not care if people know what I've done. Exactly. Krista Marie. Travis Tinsley said, I had sleeve surgery and I'm a walking advertisement for it. I don't understand people like that. I agree. Listen, if you're doing something, just like King Goddess said, I had a mommy makeover and was so happy to get compliments. The problem or the situation is when you see people on a day-to-day and you gradually lose weight, they say it takes about like 10 to 15 pounds for other people to notice and like 5 to 10 pounds for you to notice yourself. But when you start getting these drastic things done, like your chest is enhanced or you have a brand new smile or you've shed 50 to 150 pounds, people are going to notice and they want to compliment you. I don't understand the big thing about this. But for Adriana, she, I think, is getting a lot of shit on her side because she gave Larsa so much crap about being a fake Kardashian, getting her butt, her fake butt. It looks gross. This. And then you come out swinging doing the exact same thing. So it almost paints you as a hypocrite. I like you.
Yeah. And in Adriana's defense, all I'm going to say is if you look at Larsa back in the day, she looks more like a Larsa. Now she looks like Larsa, maybe like twice removed cousin of the Kardashians. You know what I mean? Like it's noticeable that you even talk like him. She never talked like that before. So when Adriana is looking for kind of an insult, she's going for the butt, but she's also going for the Kardashian thing because she does copy a lot of maybe characteristics or certain things that Kim does.
It's not really the biggest insult because we see this time and time again. We had Paris Hilton. Kim copied her. And if you watch the Kardashians, they all made fun of her because she copied and emulated everything Paris did in order to become famous. She made a tape. She talked like this. It wasn't her real voice. She had enhancements. She was making sure that she had paparazzi. She called paparazzi before she went and did anything. And for Larsa, she started doing the same thing. The reason that there was a nail in the coffin with her and the Kardashians was she couldn't keep her mouth shut when it came to Khloe Kardashian's ex, Tristan, hooking up with Jordan Woods, who was Kylie's best friend. And TMZ caught up with Larsa, and Larsa started speaking on it when the whole family decided to keep it tight-lipped. That's where she lost her way with the Kardashians. But
if the family wanted to keep it tight-lipped, they should blame Tristan.
Fear not, you're on the Real Housewives of Miami, Larsa, and you're killing it on OnlyFans. So go ahead, girl.
Killing it on Miami.
Yeah, go keep spending the $2,000 on shopping sprees with your daughter, girl. All right. So now
I have a bad like way like when her daughter was trying on all the clothes, I was like, oh, I love that. Would I be the wrong dad to go shopping with? Because she's like, no. She's like, no. I was like, that looks so cute.
I would be the worst.
I'm the worst.
She would show me a tag and it would be a shirt and it would be like $35. And I'd be like, girl, you better go to the clearance rack. My kids would know every time we went shopping, unless it has a red tag on it and it says clearance and if it's not over 40% clearance, you are not getting it.
Adam's like, just like red bottom shoes, you need to find a red covered tag.
Yes, we don't do red bottom shoes. We do red cover tag. I mean, listen, when my parents used to drop me off, by the way, for my school year, they would drop me off at the beginning of the school year. They would hand me $200 and drop me off at the mall. me, my brothers and sisters would all get $200. Whatever we came home with, we better make it work. My little brother used to come home with like 3-4 pairs of shoes and no shirts, and he would cry because he had no shirts and no jeans, so he'd have to wear last year's. And I would come home, I was so thrifty where I would do clearance, like $6 shirt, $6 shirt, $6 shirt, $13 pairs of pants. And I was killing it. I used to come home with the most shit. I'm a thrifty shopper, but I hate shopping. TT doll, admit if you've done something. It's so stupid. I agree, but again, to each their own.
I mean, if it's, yeah.
To each their
There's
own.
a reason, and it's okay. To each their own. Yeah, that's true.
To each their
I
own.
mean, obviously, your cousins definitely overreacted with, wow, you look great. We were giving a compliment. Like, not only did you get the surgery and you look great, you actually look healthier and happier. That was kind of, I think, the compliment,
And to be fair, I walked up to Trina, the same Trina who just collaborated with Candace Diller Bassett on Potomac, in an airport for these assholes. And when I did, I walked up and I got the signatures. I got it signed. Where was the thanks for that? Okay. I was only like 8 years old. But my point is, gosh, how we forget things. Now, moving on, I want to talk about some of the other women really quick, because we have Gertie, and she's talking about how this whole freaking thing is messed up when it comes to Lisa and Lenny. She, along with Julia Lemagova, they're both trying to go above and beyond because they can see that their partners might be missing something. Now, for Gertie in particular, she's a workaholic. She's a workaholic. Her husband's a firefighter. While he still makes great money, I'm sure, in Miami, she does come off like she is the main breadwinner. And she tries to justify the reason that she's sometimes absent with the kids because she's like, we have a boy, right? I don't have a daughter. I don't bond with them the same way. Like, you guys talk about Star Wars and Legos and baseball, and you guys do those things together. So I don't feel like it's really that big of a deal if I'm not as present. And I was like, that's probably not the best way to put that. However, we get it. You're working. So she wanted to sit down with him, have a picnic, and say, what is it that you need from me? And he was letting her know, when you come home, you're tired. You want to watch shows that I have no interest in. You completely check out. You're not there. Those are signs that, like, I hope we saw this with Lenny last year, but they've been together for over 25 years. I hope we don't see that with Gertie and her husband, because I really love them together as a couple. But he is saying, so Gertie needs to pay attention right now. He is saying there are some absences. Maybe be a little bit more aware of those. But for Julia and Martina, it's a totally different situation. Julia and Martina,
100%. I mean, listen, this whole Lisa situation has kind of opened up in their minds, like, oh my God, what can happen? It's bringing up a lot of insecurities, a lot of questions. And I think it's kind of healthy. Like, check in on your spouse, check in on your partner. It's not a big deal, because Lisa is claiming to be blindsided in this situation, But I think with Martina and Julia, I'm so glad, first of all, that this is the first representation of the LGBTQIA plus community. I said that really fast. Sorry, but I got all the letters. Larson never got all the letters. But I mean, no, as a housewife, she's our first gay housewife, is she not?
I mean, does Bronwyn count?
No. Okay. No, Bronwyn doesn't count. No, she couldn't even decide who she was or what she was. Do you remember? Yeah. I'm this, I'm that. Every 5 minutes, there was like a new story with Bronwyn. No, Bronwyn, bye. No, but like, we have this great representation of someone who's super successful, who have a great relationship. And I thought the whole dinner and the whole discussion was fantastic. And I'm so happy that they're in that place, especially moving forward with, Martina's unfortunate diagnosis with, throat cancer and all kinds of, I feel terrible. But I love this. I love Julia this season. And last season I could have done without her. So I'm glad we're something I asked for last season was, I wish we saw more of Martina and Julia, and we're getting that.
Right. No, I agree. Kelly Dodd Leventhal is in the chat, you guys. If you didn't hear, Kelly, her husband Rick was in a bad car accident. And I saw where a lot of people, I know this is off topic really quick. I saw where a lot of people were saying, oh, you must not be that hurt, because he was still going on social media. He has a couple of broken ribs. I thought it was absolutely disgusting. I did a video about it, how people were so quick to just be nasty, when I feel like we live in a world that's full of just nastiness, and people want so bad to be hateful and angry. And I don't get it. For Kelly and Rick, though, we are sending you guys all of the positive vibes, the healing vibes, and hopefully we will have them on before we know it. and have them back on the Rick and Kelly show before they know it. So
Do
Kelly and
people
Rick,
also
you
forget
call them
who
out.
Rick Leventhal is? He was a journalist. He's been
Huge.
he is going to come on and he's going to continue. The show must go on. You know what I mean?
Right. This man was in multiple war zones. He's like, a couple broken ribs. I got it, babe. Yeah,
So glad he's safe though, and happy healing to him. Hopefully
absolutely.
sooner the better. But
They
as I
are
said, I
a
really
riot.
love this relationship between Martina and Julia, and it seems like they're. I love what Martina said too. A lot of people don't have. We don't share a lot of people don't share this. Sorry, I can't even talk. Share the same thing that we have. We come from the same place, and Martina says they always come back to each other no matter what. And I'm not going anywhere. And I love this. I love Martina, and I love her wisdom. I love seeing her in this kind of spotlight. I think it's great. I really enjoy their relationship.
Interestingly enough, Julia is asking Martina what she needs from her, and Gertie is asking her husband what he needs. Have I ever asked you what you like if I'm missing something?
No, I tell you.
What do you say?
To leave me alone. Let me sleep. Turn down the TV. Pick up after yourself. Try doing the laundry. Maybe do the dishes that you just made. I'm just kidding.
Stop turning Purge on before bed.
Please stop turning Purge on before bed. You're kicking me all night. I can't get any sleep.
I'm running in my sleep. Somebody's trying to get me with an axe. I'm like running. But no, back to Julia and Martina. I thought it was cute that Martina was telling her things that I want. I want to go to Aspen at least twice a year. I want to go ski. And it's not because I want to be away from you and I'm trying to meet some woman in Aspen. It's because I'm in love with Aspen and I want to share these memories with you. It seems like Martina, she's helped Julia raise her kids. On top of that, they don't have any kids, on their own except for Elvis the goat and all of these squawking ass birds and the entire farm that comes with it. But it seems like for her, she's like, the kids are out. And I think now is the time for us to enjoy our beautiful new house and our life. And Julia's like, hold on, no, I am meant to be a mom. I have empty nests. So then they get into the topic of adoption, which I thought was wild because it did not seem like Martina wanted to go down that route. However, this is something that Julia is super excited about. And I'm wondering, and this is not an age thing, but I am wondering, at what age do you get to where you're like Adriana said, do you really want to go back and sit in the school line? Do you want to? Jason and I were walking the other day. We have a private school right next to our house. And we walk sometimes in the afternoon. We'll walk our dogs and just try to get fresh air in between filming. And we're walking past and there was a carpool. And this line legit had to be a quarter of a mile long. And Jason's like, if we had a kid, I swear to God, I would tell that kid, you're either the first one out or you are the last one out. There is no in between. I'm not sitting in that line. And I was like, oh, that's great. We're never having kids. Fantastic.
No, okay. So going back to Martina and Julia and why I like them so much too, because, I love just seeing a gay relationship in this light. You know what I mean? I love seeing that they are monogamous. I love seeing that they are very family. They have values. I just love this. And we can relate to maybe an adoption story. It's something that we talk about. I don't know if we'll ever do it. I don't know if we will have a kid, if we'll adopt a kid, but this is such great television for people like us because we can relate. We can be like, wow, this is an interesting journey to watch these ladies go through.
I want to say this really quick. Elaine Hargate said the carpool line stress is real. Rob J in the city said king size bed is a relationship saver. Not in this one.
Not in this one.
No.
We need what's that one that's bigger? It's like, have you seen these Florida Atlantic King whatever things? They're like,
it doesn't matter because what
like
Jason does is he sleeps in the middle of the bed and he
No.
throws his
What
massive
Adam
ass
does-
ass over my body, and then I feel like I'm
No.
drowning in the Atlantic
No.
Ocean, like
No.
somebody just tied sandbags to my body. and I'm
B
sinking.
all the way to the S. B to the S. That is complete BS.
What's your rendition
You
of the
sleep in the
story?
middle and you push all the way over because you like to have a little cuddle at night. And then there's two dogs on the bed, and like we give them more room than we give ourselves. Like, no. Don't
Also,
try to
though,
push that on me.
what is so shitty too is Jason in the middle of the night, we have our little hefty baby. Her name's Harlow. And he'll say, Harlow, come here. I'll say Harlow. She has little stairs next to the bed. Nothing. Ignores me. I'm like, Harlow, come here right now. Harlow, come here, baby. Like I do everything and she just ignores me. And then Jason's like, Harlow. And all of a sudden it's like, rise from the ashes. Here comes this bitch up the stairs. And she walks right in between us and she flops over and she goes and like snores in your face. But Jason loves her because she's a divider. And I'm like, this shit. I'm getting my own bed.
She's a great divider.
I'm getting my own bed.
Divider.
Okay.
Speaking of relationships, though, I really want to. Another thing I really enjoy about the Real Housewives of Miami, and just they can't just, or they don't just bring us drama. They don't just bring us that. I love seeing their family dynamics, and I love the relationship between Alexia and Frankie. I think she is such a great mom to do this. I like seeing his growth, his progress. It really looks like he's progressed so much.
Yeah, you know, and for Alexia, you can say whatever you want about her past and some of the docuseries that came out, her ex-husband. We get it, right? However, when you sit there and you start going through everything that she's been through, because that's one of the things that the women all talk about is like she's always going through something. She had her husband who turned out to be gay. She had her other husband who was like this big drug lord. She had her son who was a really horrific accident. She still continues to keep pushing on. And it seems like she has so much patience with Frankie. And I love that she's like, okay, I've hit a wall in the sense that I'm catering to him. I'm like, he knows how loved he is. Anything that he needs and he wants, I'm here. But then she's also evaluating in her mind the fact that I might not always be here. So what happens if I'm not always here? There are programs, there are certain charities that give back to people in the same circumstances or situations like Frankie, where it's almost like you're reintegrating them into the world in the sense of you can work, you can be self-sufficient, you can have a life on your own. Potentially Frankie could have a family. And everything that she does, it's not like she's rushing to get it done to be like, Frankie, get out of the house. I need to be in my marital bliss. She's like, I just want my family to win. Top, like hands down, one of the top mothers that we've seen on any of the Real Housewives. She is just, she's like he said, she's a saint.
Yeah, she's great. And I love watching this journey. We've watched this since season 2 is when the accident happened, right?
Yeah.
And to watch him go through what he has and to come out like this, and we even see next episode where he has someone asking, have you ever taken an Uber? Have you ever? And he said, I'm scared. And I can only imagine, it's just he hasn't had the same life experiences, but he is winning and he's progressing, and it's a great story to watch.
And as long as he has his family around, I think that he'll always win. But then you also wonder, you don't know the hand that you're going to be dealt, and we're not promised tomorrow. So I do see where she's, God forbid something happened and she walked out of her door. It's Miami. You never know what's going to happen. And he did have to sort of survive on his own. What does that look like? And I think that's so smart for them to start, because his older brother is definitely not, Peter's not taking care of Frankie. Yeah. Peter needs to take care of Peter because Peter's life is a mess. At least that's how they showcase it on the show. It makes it seem like he's always trying to figure it out, and she's always trying to help him figure it out. She's always worried about Peter. So I don't think that she would necessarily trust Peter being there to the full extent and accepting and taking on all of the responsibility that is Frankie at this moment. Maybe in the future that could change. But again, amazing charity, beautiful mother-son relationship. I just love Alexia. I did want to go on and talk a little bit about Marisol really quick. Oh, bad pixelated photo. Marisol ends up going over to Lisa's house, and they're talking more about this divorce in the Page 6 articles. But the thing is with Marisol, I love this woman is just so unapologetically herself, always sipping on a cocky. Like, she just walks in and she's like, you do your wine. Don't worry. I'll help myself. I know where the bar. Oh, here's my vodka right where I left it. Apparently nobody in here is a vodka drinker. I'm like, are you just, when they pay you and they give you a contract, does the number really matter on that contract? Or do you just look at it like,
do you get commission on laughs? Because I've laughed so much. Like, it's crazy. Now listen, in a normal circumstance, maybe, someone around my age who drinks as much as Marisol does, I might question something, but who is anyone to tell Marisol what to do?
I'm not questioning her. I'm like, you were a powerhouse PR woman. You're happily married now. You're on a TV show. You haven't gotten in any accidents, no DUIs that we know of. It seems like you drink responsibly. You're not in these like rants and these aggressive tirades. You're just having a good time. I thought
she did get a DUI back in the day. Did she not mention that at some point?
Did she get a DUI?
I can't remember.
I mean, it takes 2 seconds for me to look it up. Hold on. I don't
Huh.
think she got a DUI, but Marisol Patton DUI.
Yeah, I thought that was brought up maybe last season,
Mm.
if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so I take that one back, but I think she's learned from it, and now she drinks more responsibly, and she's not driving while drinking. My point is let's just leave her and her cockies alone because she's having a good time, and she really adds to this group. Now, I think this is something that we've been saying about the Real Housewives of Potomac. I love the dynamic. I don't think that Marisol needs to be upgraded to a housewife. I think that she's perfect right where she is, and she keeps us wanting more. And she really complements the rest of the cast by getting in there. She's in the drama. She gives us the reactions. She gives us the confessionals, and she has that best friend relationship. That's why I keep saying if we bring back Robin Dixon, just put her ass as a friend of. I don't feel like she gives us the full housewife. Bring her in as a friend.
I mean, Miami is just so different. Like these ladies, most of them have known each other for decades, right? And they've already filmed the show, some of them. I just feel like there is such a special dynamic, and with them having those genuine relationships, with them having some of them filmed together before and adding new ones, I mean, they hit the lottery with this. You know, every season when we're watching Housewives and stuff, especially now, it's like Game of Thrones. We don't know who's coming back. We don't know what character is going to get, killed off the show. We don't know. So with Miami, I feel like you could just leave it the way it is right now. They have friends, they have support. Okay, you don't have to bring that up.
Well, people were asking me about so I just want to bring it up.
Yeah. So. No, I just feel like this is such a great group, and I don't know if you can even use Miami as like a blueprint to cast. I just think they got lucky. They have a really great cast, and I don't think you could, if casting is like, okay, let's do what Miami did and let's try to do it this way. I don't think you're going to get the same result if you try to do that on another franchise, let's say.
No, I mean, now we're hearing that they're trying to do a Real Housewives of New Orleans. They're trying to add 3 new housewives in order to save Salt Lake City. New York, we have no idea. They had to completely reconstruct. This is either we're entering.
I heard only one cast member from Legacy has solidified their contract, and that it's not going well.
I'm pretty sure Legacy were like Shoo-in. I feel like for sure is going to be Sonia, Dorinda, and Luann, and then I'm pretty sure they're going to add like a Kelly Ben Simone, a Jill Zarin. I don't know.
I'm sure that's what they're going to do, but according to some recent reports, only one person has signed their contract and the other ones are holding out for more money.
Maybe they are. I mean, Peacock might be looking at them like, you ladies are lucky that we're doing this show period. So no,
we're lucky to have Real Housewives of New York anymore anyways, I guess.
They might even be able to redo the pay grade on it because since Real Housewives of Miami picked up on season 4. Right. So then what happens is they pick up where they left off on paying them, just like Tamra Judge. Tamra Judge didn't get to negotiate a whole new season and like coming back like a whole new, I'm worth this much. She said on 2 T's in a Pod where she left off, whatever bonuses and increases she would have got for the next season, had she not have been fired, then she would have, that's the pay that she picked back up on. So I think for all of the Miami Housewives, the one that came back, they picked back up on that pay. And I think for Real Housewives New York Legacy, while they're worth the money, maybe in their own minds, since it's a brand new show, it might be a brand new starter salary sort of tier system.
That could be true too. That really could be true.
Can you know who I was just thinking about the other day? Charlie Burnett on Vanderpump Rules is now on this is her 3rd season. And I'm thinking, okay, so now she's finally like making the money for what?
Oh, Lord.
I don't know. What's the news on the younger version of Roni? How is that going?
Who cares?
We know that.
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. That's the thing. I feel like that's what I was getting to right before this. We're either entering the era of the end of the Real Housewives over the next decade, or we're going to seriously
in the next decade, I promise. I mean, listen, someone just said, why are we adding more Housewives? Oh yeah, more Housewives shows. Shouldn't these shows begin to phase out? Yeah. Like if they've been around for a long time and there's nothing else to offer, bring on a new city, but phase some out. Like we're oversaturating to the point of like,
well, they did
craziness. Like, how are you going to fix Salt Lake? Salt Lake is a great city to have Housewives. You just did it wrong. Like there's no the casting sucks, especially this season when they were trying to integrate both Angie's and Dana. Like,
when you have a finale and you do the end cards in the middle of the season or the middle of the finale,
20
where
minutes in.
well, it was
22
minutes
minutes in. It was, yeah, it wasn't even a half hour in. We spent 40 minutes on Jen Shaw.
Right. So that's my whole point, is like when you have that going on and then you're taking out scenes and it just I'm surprised that they're not pulling the plug on Salt Lake City, but I'm also surprised, no shade, that they haven't pulled the plug on Watch What Happens Live. Like Watch What Happens Live barely gets sometimes maybe over 200,000 viewers, sometimes less than. And then you talk about somebody like Emily D. Baker, who goes live, and as soon as she's off of her live for an hour and a half or whatever, she has over 300,000 views. So when you have some YouTubers bringing in more in a live, then you have Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live on national television and streaming all over Peacock, which means it's worldwide.
Well, it depends too who he has on, right? Like when usually the Below Deck nights actually do very well because people watch Below Deck. Like a lot of people watch Below Deck.
He has no time for Below Deck.
He has no time for them, but that's great. But it's helping his ratings by having them on, especially when he had Captain Sandy on. It does better than like when he has, I don't know, somebody else on, because he does a lot of great things on Watch What Happens Live. I like when he has some Broadway people on, some TV people on, but not everyone who watches Bravo is going to be interested in, you know, these Broadway performers. You know, I'm glad he got the White Lotus ones on there. Theo James. Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. They should put Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It should go on Tubi. That's what it's equivalent to at this point. I'm just okay. All right. Did anyone see that they're kind of doing a Real Housewives, but with guys on MTV? Yes. The funny thing is they're already boycotting it. There are people, because there's one castmate in particular that people don't want to see. And I'm like, how are you boycotting a show before Todrick? Yeah. Before the show even comes out. How are we doing that? Janelle Allen said celebrities always look bored when they're on Watch What Happens Live.
Well, because sometimes I feel like, and this is no like hit at Andy. I like a lot of what Andy does. I can't believe I'm saying that. And he does have a job to do. I think when he's talking about certain things like Housewives of Salt Lake City, and he's like, oh, we have this great cast coming up, we're going to start filming. Like, you're just BSing us, but you're also the executive producer, and these shows are your babies. So you're not going to say anything negative. Like when Lisa Rinna left, yeah, they probably fired her. Is he going to say that? Probably not. You know,
no, because I think that he's leaving the door open.
Yeah. Now I forgot my freaking train of thought.
Sorry. But just like, you know, sometimes the credibility of it too gets a little lost, because I think especially for us, sometimes when we're talking to some of the different Bravo talent, but for example, like he just alluded to the fact that he would be going to Salt Lake City this weekend for a one-on-one. And now everybody's like, oh my gosh, this one-on-one is coming. And, you know, you would think that there would be a one-on-one with Jen Shaw from Andy Cohen in order to put that at the back end of the reunion. So we have something to sort of cap off the season, right? Because we're not going to see her again on the next season. So, but then if it doesn't happen, then you're looking and you're like, well, if that didn't happen, and you're saying that you were hoping to head there with cameras and it was happening, what else is not you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know, but he's got to keep the people talking about it. What I was going to say too is sometimes I think when he has other people on besides Housewives, like Below Deck, someone's writing his questions, someone's writing his cards. He's not invested. He probably doesn't watch those shows. And this is the same thing when he has certain, you know, people on the show, authors, actors, whatever. It seems like sometimes there's not enough research to be having a conversation, but it's fun. It makes me giggle.
Well, as long as you're giggling, Jay.
As long as I'm giggling, I'm good.
See, that's what I mean. I don't want to see Todrick.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I actually don't know a lot about that. I actually don't find. Do you remember like 2 years ago, I said they need to do a Real Friends of show on Bravo? I said that. I said that on one of our shows, on one of our lives. I said that repetitively. I cannot believe that this is happening. MTV, of course, jumping the gun, doing well. Good job, MTV. I hope it's good, though. I hope it's good.
It looks kind of lame, but
it does kind of look lame, especially from living in West Hollywood, and you're choosing. I think I'd like to see something else. I don't know if it will be attractive, especially for maybe the gay consumer.
We'll find out. We'll find out. All right, Jason, when it comes to Miami, did we miss anything?
No, I'm really excited though for the rest of this season.
Yeah.
I really am.
Marisol and
It's
Alexia are going to rip Adriana apart. And we don't know why yet, but she did say that Marisol's ex said that he never loved her. Then, of course, Dr. Nicole, Larsa and her just went back and forth. And Larsa said, well, I heard that you hooked up with all the doctors. She's pissed off. She's slamming Larsa as an arsonist and saying, do you know how dangerous that is for my career for you to spread something like that? And Larsa's just like, Larsa's just letting people come to her. And she's like, oh, you have a problem? I'm a vault. So hold on. Dr. Nicole. Oh, okay. Come here, girl. Sit down. Yeah. She doesn't really go to you with it. She just waits for you to come in. You say so. She's kind of taking the Candace Diller-Bassett approach of like, I'm not going to open the can, but you're also not going to tell me how big I get to react once you open it. So I'm just letting you know. She's like a vault. I don't think she would not be the one I would want to piss off. She's coming through this season.
100%. 100%. I love her.
And she's like, do you know the caliber of man I was with? I was with Scottie Pippen and you were with a teacher. And I'm like, what's wrong?
I mean, that comment's kind of stupid. It's like, that doesn't mean that he's a great caliber of person just because you're a professional athlete and you make a lot of money and dumb mistakes. Like, that doesn't mean, you know, like.
The teacher could have been great.
The teacher is teaching our youth, the children of tomorrow, you know? I mean, come on, like, that's a ridiculous statement. I think Nicole, it bothers her a lot. It bothers her,
but I think it rightfully so bothers her. But with that, guys, I know that we have in just 8 short minutes, we are premiering Jason's Hot Messy Minute. Jason is breaking down a lot and it's him being fully opinionated. I don't even know what the hell is going on in this live, but it's my
minute where I get to talk about and tell you my opinions on certain things that have happened in this past week. We've had a lot of news. Catherine Dennis got fired. Well, I'm sorry. Catherine Dennis exited from Southern Charm. Lisa Vanderpump's return is looking more and more like a possibility. I talk about the possibility of Brandi Glanville still coming back to Beverly Hills. We talk about Harry's memoir and some of my thoughts about that. And some backlash that actually Fraser is getting on Below Deck as the first gay chief stew.
Nice. And also, like you guys can see on Hot Messy Podcast YouTube channel, it is still continuing to grow and thrive. So there is the link pinned in the live chat, so you can go check out Jason's Hot Messy Minute. You can click on it. Make sure you vote in all of our community polls, and let's grow the hell out of this. So get subscribed. We are dropping double the content on Hot Messy Podcast for the podcast itself and also the YouTube channel. Going into February throughout the rest of 2023, it is going to be a very fruitful year. It's going to be a very exciting year and a very content-forward year.
And we have 2 great interviews coming out on Hot Messy Podcast next week, which will be a lot of fun too.
Absolutely. Jason, with that, and with everybody in the live chat, thank you so much to everyone for all of the support. We love you guys so much. Did I miss anything, Jason? I think that's a wrap.
No, you didn't miss anything. That's a wrap.
Right. Bye, guys. We love you.
Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.